All right, guys. Hey, what is going on? It is Ando. We are here for episode 4 of the Grando Cantina. And as you guys see below us is Gridan and his cat, Sable.
She's so cute.
Yeah, she is a cute kitty. Um, if you guys are just coming here, make sure you guys check out part 1 of episode 4, which is on Grin's channel. The link for all that stuff will be down in the description below. If you guys, this is your first episode, typically we are, more for about the last, just acting kind of stupid. You guys ask questions and we answer them, and it's usually a good time. And it's going to be a little bit of a departure today because of the big news that we kind of got. So, we're going to talk about Galactic Legends and a few other things that came up on the Galactic War Report. So, big credit to those guys. Link for that podcast will be down below as well. Check them out, guys. This is coming straight from CG Crumb, by the way. They are the source that has gotten CG Crumb twice now on their podcast within the last few months. So definitely check them out. They're obviously legit. All right, well, we won't waste any time because, like I said, this is going to be a little bit more of a discussion because of what news has come out.
Yeah.
But okay, so this screenshot again is taken. It's basically a summation of the podcast. So we're going to talk about. We already talked about some of these topics, and if you're interested in going for Sith Eternal Emperor, go over to Gridan's channel. That was where we talked about that. This channel, I am going for Jedi Knight or Jedi Master Luke, and so we're going to be talking mostly about that.
Right.
So Gridan, the first bullet point that this screenshot says is, both of the GLs are going to have this transformations which turn them. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm Dr. Evil, like when I'm doing the quotes.
Transformation.
Yeah. Which turn them into terrifying threats, as opposed to their merely very powerful pre-transformation forms. So I
Uh-huh.
kind of want to hear your thought. Like, what are you thinking about this? Is this something that you like? Is this what are you thinking? Is this going to be their ultimates, or like what do you think this is going to look like when we get these characters?
I wouldn't be too surprised if that was their ultimate. But I do think it'd be a very interesting mechanic if it wasn't their
Yeah,
ultimate. I would like to see it not be their ultimate. So that
yeah,
would be my preference. I want to see this not be their ultimate. I want to see one of their abilities, just like CLS goes from a more offensive stance to a more defensive stance, and it's
yeah,
it's a switching form in the battle. I
yeah.
would love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same way. I, it'd be interesting if, like, instead of uh instead of like it being a turn, kind of like how GL Kylo and GL Ray were, if it was
Yeah.
just sort of like a, like, I won't say passive thing, but like it just kind of happens, right? Like, kind of
Yeah.
like so obviously, like, what I think they're trying to say by this one, at least for Luke, right, is
Yeah.
he's the hermit, right? Like, we're gonna get
Right.
the hermit, and then yes, his transformation is going to be basically him in his force projection, where he's
Yeah.
actually taking this offensive role, even though he never deals damage. He's taking this offensive role, and it's sort of like, okay, maybe
Yeah.
after it's like on a cooldown type thing, and it just kind of happens like on his third turn or something like that. He turns into this offensive character. He gets three
That
turns with
yeah.
that, and then he sort of like comes back, right? And it's sort of like
Yeah.
an ultimate where it's like, maybe it shows a bar of it like charging up or whatever. Yeah,
That'd be cool.
so with that, we'll talk about the second point here, which is really about GL Luke. And so it says GL Luke will
Yep.
be a quote teacher, right? And who will be good at enabling allies and buffing his team. He will also be able to dish it out offensively. And so I kind of want to. So I think, like, we always, like, a lot of us thought this, right? And this is actually why I wanted to go for Jedi Master Luke, right? So
Mhm.
back, if you were to ask me, like, in 2016 or whatever, when I first started playing, do you want a character that does zero damage, right? I'd be like, no. um, but characters like C3PO, Wat Tambor, um,
Hermit
Hermit
Yoda.
Yoda. You know, like these
Mhm.
guys are absolutely now, especially as like squads have diversified and we aren't sitting in the game in 2017 where it's just like, okay, you have your squad arena squad, and then you have every squad that you currently have that can't beat any other squad arena squad. And so I really like I wanted this to be the thing. Like I really wanted him to be kind of like a guy like Hermit Yoda. Like he just juices up the Jedi because the Jedi are
Yeah,
already such a nasty faction. Um, it's just like if they just have someone to buff them up, like now you can throw Hoda maybe back over to JKR.
yeah,
And so now you basically have, Hermit Yoda's kit essentially, or probably just maybe on steroids, um,
yeah,
with your secondary Jedi team. And now you've got, Jedi Knight Revan back, and Hermit Yoda's doing his thing that he's doing to the Jedi. So
yeah, yeah,
I really like that, man. And then the fact that I thought he was just going to be a no damage character, but like now that they said he's
yeah.
also going to be able to dish out offensively, I'm like, okay, all right,
Alright.
sounds good,
Yeah,
man.
I think that's good news. I think that's really good news for a lot of people who were speculating what his kit could look like.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, I mean, it's the way that they're phrasing stuff about his kit, he's gonna be a teacher that buffs his team, but also dishes it out.
yeah,
You can see a lot of synergy there. It specifies, that we cover this on my channel, but it specifies that there's a narrow synergy, such as Luke with Jedi. So that
yeah,
obviously immediately begs the question of how is he going to interact with the old Republic Jedi?
yeah,
How is
yeah,
he going to interact with like I can only imagine like the nightmare that mirror matches were, with Jedi Knight Revan and you throw in Hermit Yoda, GK,
yeah,
and Jolie. Like, what is like? I mean, immediately just kind of trying some sort of speculation. Could you imagine like both Luke's, both Yodas, and Jolie?
yeah. It's just like the,
Like I
it's just
dude,
like
buffs are gonna
okay,
be everywhere, revives constantly, no one's gonna die, just
yeah,
it'll be really interesting to see what that kit does. In a whole Jedi, generally speaking, it seems like they're buffs. They deal
yeah,
a lot of damage through a lot of buffs, through a lot of, turn meter gain and control, and then the dark side is just, like, sheer damage. You got HK dropping those 200 bombs.
yeah,
You got Darth Revan hitting the fear, Malik, you got stuff like that going on, and obviously SLKR.
yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see, how that kit balances out with the rest of the Jedi that are in the game
yeah,
and the theory crafting that's gonna ensue with this teacher
yeah.
sort
Can
of
you like
aspect.
Jedi Knight Luke already hits stupid hard. Like, if
Yes,
he
that's
gets
another
a
yep.
buff, if he gets a buff somehow, like another one, but like if he gets something, like if somewhere in Jedi Master Luke's kit, it's just like, it's like I said, maybe it's a beefed up version of Hoda, right? Like, and maybe now it's
Yeah,
instead of 50% offense or whatever, and all those stats that he, maybe
yeah,
it's 75 or 100%. All right, enough about the GLs. All right, so CG Crumb also touched on the Galactic Challenges. So I'll just recap. Like, so they think the 3-day period works the best, and they're gonna be at least trying it out for a while. And he seems to imply they like the new reward system and will probably be keeping it. So we think
yep,
I think he thinks that like they're probably at like the 98% solution of what they think the reward should look like for this to be the full game mode moving forward. And they are also looking to add new Galactic Challenges monthly with Hoth and Coruscant coming soon. So let me hear your thoughts about the Galactic Challenges, like the new kind of revamp that we've gotten, and
mhm,
just kind of like your thoughts on some of those points.
yeah. Now I will first and foremost say, I will always give credit where credit is due. I
Yeah,
I will give feedback and criticism where it's due, but I will also, on the flip side, 100% give credit where credit is due. I'm so glad they listened and revamped and changed the reward systems in particular and that relic gate. Now,
yeah,
obviously, you can't just go, beat tier 7 with your gear 12 characters,
yeah,
but at least you can attempt something without having to have
Yeah.
X relic or X gear. So really happy with that. I'm really happy with the changes that they made. Um, this year though, I would still like them to. Now I don't obviously know the full story, so maybe they did comment on it. But I would like them to still be open to feedback and changing
Yeah.
things. Seeming to imply that they like the new reward system and keep it as is. Don't get me wrong, it's better. But if this is a 3-day event, I would love to see for a true replayable sort of event,
Mhm.
I want to see rewards getting reset daily. Adding more challenges monthly, I think would be fantastic. That's gonna, continue to spice it up. I would love to see, yeah, Hoth, Coruscant, adding in those new global modifiers will be a very exciting thing to see. I would just love to see more of the kind of the lore going into it. If we're going to bring out Hoth, that better be Rebels versus Empire.
Yeah.
If we're bringing in Coruscant, that better be Galactic Republic versus Separatist.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that last part. Like, well, let me say this. I agree with that last part to an extent, just
Yeah.
because okay. So I think, and again, just from listening to Crumb talk about this was super insightful. Like, by the way, to hear from them, they should do this way more often because, like, I
I
got
want to see
way
this
more.
monthly.
Yeah, like I got way more picture of like, okay, that's how CG's thinking. Now it doesn't seem like, and he like, if you listen to the interview,
Yeah.
there's like this perception that out there that like, oh, CG just they're tone deaf, they don't listen or whatever. Like he
Yeah.
totally acknowledges everything. Like he totally knew. Like he said, like yeah, when we put those in there, we knew we were gonna get flack for this, or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's like it was an exhibition, right? Like they did warn us, like
Yeah.
on their their side. But
Yeah.
here's where I would say like um I agree that it'd be great for the Hoth, to be Empire and Rebels. But here's where I also disagree because when
Yeah.
he said this, he said, this is meant to be something to where like you right? Like you might not personally have rebels, right? So you're not going to get those, some of those nicer rewards because you don't have the rebels, right? But like,
Right.
a month from now, it might be Hoth again, but it might be, instead of maybe Empire versus, we'll say First Order, right? And you have First Order, and you're like, oh, perfect, now I can, right? And so it's meant
Right.
to be this thing like eventually where you're like, okay, you know what? I should just gear up every faction just so that way, like, and not to the point where it's just like, oh, I just need to R5 everyone, right? Because he said that that's not the intent of this Galactic Challenges either. Like
Yeah.
hearing that come from him, like I was like, okay, great. Like
Yeah.
now we're on the same page, right? The point of this is, hey, if you had these guys and you're willing to go for that challenge, you're trying to bring in all five, rebels against this
Yeah.
set of squad, then go for it. And we want to reward you, you know, for that. So very
Yeah.
interesting sides from all of it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I would like to see it rotate to being a lore thing too. Like,
Yeah.
like maybe like every like for instance, we'll just say Hoth. For every 1 and 2 times, right? Like that Hoth comes around, it's
Yeah.
Empire Rebels, right? And then the next time
Yeah.
it's just like Empire
Yeah.
and whatever. So here's where I disagree with him. So the reason why he said they did the 3 day was because he felt like it was a good compromise. They did their data on it and they said on the second to third day, that was when most people were actually engaging in galactic challenges. And I would
Mhm.
argue with him that because that was happening, or the reason why that was happening was one, because they created like pretty ridiculous, time standards to begin with, right? The 7 day ones. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, like when the event goes live, why would I don't need to rush to do it type thing.
Yeah.
But there's always those procrastinators out there, like that's like, oh crap, I only got like 20 minutes. I got to do this. So I can
Yeah.
see that. So like if they just made it a day, people would make it. It's like TB, right? If
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
go from Hoth, right, everyone attacks like the last like two. Well, Hoth is a kind of bad example because it gets maxed out in like the first like 20 minutes that it's up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but like yeah, you people made the 24-hour window. And
Yeah.
when they made it to the 36-hour window with Geo, right, people again attacked later because it's just like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
fine, right? Like the procrastinator comes out and everyone they're like, I'm fine, dude.
Yeah.
I don't need to attack yet. Again, I think some of that was rewards too, because it's like, oh, I don't need those rewards, dude. Those suck. Like
Yeah.
so if it's good
Yeah. I mean,
rewards, people are gonna like when I saw stun guns, I was like, oh crap, I need those.
I think you're right. I think this round of data is gonna show a lot more people jumping onto it sooner.
Yeah.
Because again, yeah, if you see if you see that, you can get some stun guns, you're like, "I need those."
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone does. To
Yeah.
level up X character, well, I'm gonna jump on the event right away.
I would prefer the 48-hour window, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, but
I
yeah,
would agree
it'd
with
be
that.
nice if the rewards refresh, but have a feeling like there is always going to be a give and take. Like if they did the refresh, I bet they would cut the rewards that we get currently, in half. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's fair.
enough on this, but pretty good stuff, man. Like I said, guys,
Yeah.
if you guys haven't, check out the interview. It's very very it was a very very nice like change of pace, honestly. And it's always good to hear from Crumb, honestly. He's got a very very good perspective on it. So, all right.
Very much agreed.
All right, so our first of our two questions. All right, so Talks of the Thrawn series.
Okay.
I think they were saying live action, right? So this is
Mhm.
going off that. What are your thoughts on just overall, and who would you cast as Thrawn?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Man, someone that's just man, who just somebody that would have to, like, just ooze that quiet, terrifying confidence.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah, you tell
Say
me.
that.
I gotta think of, some of the characters that I'm thinking of who's portrayed that, and then find out who it
I-
was.
All right, so yeah,
Yeah.
for my selection for Thrawn, well,
Yeah.
okay, my thoughts on it, I'd be totally down. Like, he's a super.
Yeah.
I think people like that character made people. He's kind of like Vader. He made people like almost like the Empire. It's just like, okay, wait, who's this guy? I like this guy.
Yeah.
um, and so my character, like what you were saying, like I would be looking for a guy that's not only looks like him, but like yeah, just oozes that like persona that like not only he's gonna be like he's going to win, like and he's got that like
Yeah.
quiet confidence and like he just knows it. And I
Yeah.
think the guy that I'm gonna choose is Michael Fassbender. um,
Ooh.
who's Magneto, but that he's pretty good in that too. Like there's times where he like
Yeah.
walks in and like that the meme where he's like, "Show me the real you," and like, no, the
Yeah.
real like like
That's
it's
yeah.
just like the quiet like type thing. But
Yeah.
honestly, I think what like kind of made me think of that was like because he's Thrawn's like a kind of an intellectual too, and it's like
Yeah.
when he plays that AI robot thingy in Prometheus and like forgot what the next one is called. But like basically the prequels to like Alien.
Yeah.
Um yeah, it's just like okay, like he can almost have that like robotic tone to him while also just like again like the quiet confidence of like I'm going to end up on top type thing.
Uh, Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But thinking, like, also just yeah, facial feature wise and being able to just, yeah, show that kind of, like, you got that confidence in yourself and your ability and what you're gonna do and that what you want to have happen is gonna happen, and I don't know, he has a I mean, he has a really good voice of just that I don't know, it's that confident voice, it's that powerful voice that
Yeah.
you're just like, "You're right."
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's
he
pretty
would
sweet.
absolutely crush that. Yeah,
Michael Fassbender, do it.
do it. You heard it here first.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so this is the dumb question, dude. I got this from one of my guys. I don't even know how to answer this one. All right, so if you get groceries delivered to your house, and you ordered a DiGiorno pizza, Can you sue DiGiorno for false advertising? It's not
um,
delivery, it's DiGiorno. And he's like, well, I did get it delivered here.
it's DiGiorno delivered.
Yeah.
uh, you know what? Just for laughs and giggles, sorry.
I don't care.
Yes.
Yes.
As a registered lawyer in Gridan land, and your legal consultant, yes, you can sue DiGiorno for delivering.
You know what? Like, honestly, in this, in this day and age, I feel like there's not much that you can't sue people for. So, like, yeah, like, go for it.
Why not?
Like,
Give it a shot.
the fact that someone won that I think it was a lady, I believe. The lady, like, I mean, this was probably 20 or 30 years ago now, but like the
Yeah.
fact that she won the lawsuit that she was not made aware that her coffee was hot. So when it spilled on her and gave her burns, she was able to win like $30,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like, yeah, probably you could, man. Like, they probably
Why
would be
not?
like, someone would probably be like, yeah, it is false advertising given the current state of the world. So, gonna go
Yeah.
ahead and have to ask you to compensate them. Like I said, we were talking about this off stream, but it's just like, it's so funny. Your community has really stuck to sort of like some funny stuff. Ours is
Yeah.
stuck to like they're like I said, we didn't get to all the questions that we wanted to this week because of the important topics that we were trying to cover. But it's like
Mhm.
I've seen like mine and they're actually more like they want our opinion on things, and I'm just like, that might not be the smartest idea, guys. But yeah, man, it's pretty funny. I like it though. Like I said, this was supposed to when we created the Grando Cantina, it was supposed to be, hey, let the community decide what we would talk about, and yeah, like we go from there,
Yeah.
and because that's how we increase the engagement, and that's how we continue to make this something that they have essentially created and we produce.
Yeah.
So that has always been the goal. So
Yep.
without any further ado, guys, thank you so much for watching. And Gridden, thank you again for coming out. And I'm waiting for episode 5. We'll probably be back. Who knows? Like maybe they'll just drop some crazy news and we'll have to talk about that. But we'll be back to the 5 question format.
What
Yeah.
happened?
And yeah, we'll be back there and we hope to see you guys back. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.